Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered why the rich seem to attract more money while others struggle despite working twice as hard? It's not always about luck or inheritance. It's about how they think. Beneath the surface of luxury and wealth lies a mental framework that's sharp, strategic, and sometimes even ruthless. This is what I call the dark psychology of money. We've been taught to believe that money is just a tool, but to the wealthy, money is power, leverage, and freedom. It's not emotional. It's a calculated game. Where others see fear, risk, or guilt, the rich see opportunity, control, and legacy. Today, I want to pull back the curtain on the mindset that fuels the world's wealthiest individuals. Not to glorify greed, but to help you understand the psychology behind financial dominance. Because once you think like the rich, you begin to move like them, act like them, and yes, earn like them. To most people, money represents the ultimate destination. It's the goal, the prize, the measure of success. For decades, society has conditioned us to chase money as if it's the end game. Save more, spend less, accumulate, and then maybe one day we'll have enough to rest easy. But wealthy individuals, especially self-made millionaires and billionaires, see money very differently. They don't idolize it. They don't worship it. To them, money is simply a tool, a dynamic, movable asset that exists to create leverage, options, and power. It's never the end. It's always the means. When you view money as a tool, your relationship with it changes. You stop fearing it and you start commanding it. The wealthy don't stash cash under mattresses or obsess over penny pinching. They allocate money with precision. They ask, how can this dollar create more dollars? Or, how can I use this money to build a system that pays me forever? This shift in thinking transforms money from a thing to be preserved, into something to be activated. The rich understand that unused money is wasted potential, like a hammer left in a drawer when there's a house to be built. This perspective also frees them from emotional attachment. While many people experience anxiety when spending or investing, the wealthy detach emotion from the equation. To them, money doesn't hold sentimental value, it holds strategic value. They don't hold on to money for security. They deploy it like soldiers in battle, sending it out with the intention that it will return multiplied. They invest in assets, businesses, people, and systems that create future streams of income. That's why you'll often hear wealthy people say, "Let your money work harder than you do." Another distinction is how the rich interpret delayed gratification. When you view money as a goal, you tend to spend as a reward. Lavish trips, impulse buys, luxury for the sake of status. But when you view money as a tool, you spend strategically, not for pleasure, but for progress. The rich delay luxury until it's sustainable, until it pays for itself through investments. They understand that every dollar spent today is a soldier lost in tomorrow's army. This is why wealthy individuals will often reinvest profits repeatedly instead of immediately cashing out. It's about momentum, not gratification. Ultimately, the reason this mindset is so powerful is that it creates freedom and flexibility. When you treat money as a tool, it becomes a bridge to opportunity, not a finish line. The rich use money to buy time, access, influence, and scalability. A poor person might ask, "Can I afford this?" A rich person asks, "How can I use money to eliminate this problem permanently?" This mindset makes the difference between those who merely make money and those who make empires. The wealthy understand something that most people overlook. Money flows where attention and emotion go. Rich individuals aren't just financially strategic, they're psychologically strategic. They study behavior, not just markets. They know how people think, feel, and act, especially under pressure. This deep understanding of human psychology becomes one of their sharpest tools. It helps them negotiate, sell, market, lead, and outmaneuver others in both business and social environments. While others operate on emotion, the rich operate on influence. One of the most powerful psychological tools the rich use is perception management. They understand that how they are perceived matters even more than the raw truth. They intentionally shape how others see them through branding, language, confidence, and image. Why? Because perception creates leverage. A person who appears powerful gets treated as powerful. A brand that appears exclusive can charge 10x more than a similar product. The rich manipulate how others feel about them to create opportunities, command higher value, and maintain control in conversations. In short, they influence emotions to engineer outcomes. Scarcity is another classic psychological tool that the rich use to control value and behavior. Whether it's a limited investment opportunity, a high-end product drop, or a tight deadline in a negotiation, the wealthy know how to create urgency. They understand that people move faster when they fear missing out. This isn't accidental, it's calculated. They know when to speak and when to remain silent. They use tension, timing, and persuasion as tools to steer decisions in their favor. And because most people are reactive, not strategic, they often don't even realize they're being influenced. The wealthy also recognize that people crave certainty and confidence, especially in uncertain situations. That's why rich individuals often display unwavering self-assurance, even when the outcome is unknown. Confidence persuades. People trust leaders who appear certain. In boardrooms, investments, and business deals, confidence can shift millions. The rich use this to their advantage, knowing that conviction, real or staged, can sway decisions, attract followers, and draw capital. They don't wait for permission or approval. They command it, often through sheer belief in their vision. Lastly, the rich are highly intentional about controlling environments. They surround themselves with people who elevate them, challenge them, or provide strategic advantage. They remove distractions, minimize emotional chaos, and set up situations where they are always in a position of power, socially, financially, and psychologically. This isn't manipulation for the sake of harm, it's leverage for the sake of winning. And in their world, winning means not just having money, but owning the influence that shapes how money moves. If there's one trait that defines how rich people approach life differently, it's their deep obsession with control. While most individuals crave comfort, seeking job security, stable income, and a predictable lifestyle, the wealthy aim for something much more powerful: ownership of their reality. They don't settle for being at the mercy of employers, market trends, or economic systems. Instead, they build their own systems. To the rich, true freedom isn't about relaxing. It's about removing dependency on anything or anyone that can limit their decisions or slow down their vision. Control starts with time. Rich people understand that time is the ultimate currency. If you don't control your time, you don't control your life. That's why many of them avoid traditional jobs, even high-paying ones, because a salary, no matter how large, still comes with a time contract. The wealthy prefer to owe in systems, businesses, or assets that earn money while they sleep. They value income that flows without active effort, giving them the ability to decide how and where to spend their days. Comfort might bring peace temporarily, but control brings long-term freedom. This obsession with control extends to information and decision-making. Rich individuals don't like relying on guesswork. They seek clarity through data, expert opinions, and constant learning. They want to be the first to know, the first to move, and the ones making the rules, not following them. Comfort, by contrast, often involves turning off the brain, avoiding difficult decisions, escaping into entertainment, or ignoring uncomfortable truths. But the rich lean into those moments, knowing that making bold decisions early can create a 10x return later. Another critical area where this plays out is in income and investments. The middle class often works for money. The rich make money work for them. But it's deeper than just investing in stocks or real estate. It's about owning the means of production. They don't just want returns, they want equity, authority, and control. They'd rather own 10% of something valuable than be paid 100% for their time. They build or buy the infrastructure that others depend on, then leverage that control to create scalable income and lasting wealth. Finally, the rich seek control in their environment and relationships. They curate who they spend time with, what conversations they engage in, and even what emotions they allow into their space. Why? Because they understand that influence is contagious. Comfort might allow toxic people, distractions, or emotional chaos to linger, but the wealthy are ruthless about protecting their mental real estate. They design their lives around growth, focus, and alignment. Control isn't about being a tyrant. It's about creating a life where progress is inevitable, not accidental. One of the most misunderstood traits of the wealthy is their relationship with risk. From the outside, it may seem like rich people are natural risk takes, constantly making big moves, investing large sums, or starting businesses in uncertain markets. But the truth is, they're not reckless. In fact, the rich are highly strategic and calculated when it comes to risk. They're not afraid to take it, but they never do it blindly. Every decision they make is filtered through analysis, foresight, and probability, not emotion or impulse. The average person often avoids risk altogether, associating it with loss or danger. But the rich know that avoiding risk is the greatest risk of all. Playing it safe might feel secure in the short term, but it usually guarantees stagnation in the long run. The wealthy embrace risk as a necessary part of building wealth, but they do everything in their power to reduce uncertainty. They study markets, learn from mentors, hire experts, and gather as much data as possible before they move. It's not that they don't fear failure, it's that they plan for it, absorb it, and pivot fast when it happens. Another powerful aspect of how the rich handle risk is diversification of exposure. They don't put all their money or energy into one venture. Instead, they spread risk across multiple income streams, industries, and investment types. This doesn't mean they're scattered or unfocused. It means they're insulated. If one venture collapses, others are still producing. That level of risk management gives them the courage to make bold plays in one area, knowing that they won't lose everything if things go wrong. It's not courage born from fearlessness, it's courage born from strategy. What also separates the rich from the rest is how they reframe failure. For many people, a failed business, investment loss, or bad decision becomes an emotional wound, something they carry as shame or a reason to quit. But the wealthy see failure as feedback. Every setback is a lesson, a blueprint of what not to do next time. This mindset allows them to move forward faster because they extract value even from loss. Everything if things go wrong. It's not courage born from fearlessness. It's courage born from strategy. What also separates the rich from the rest is how they reframe failure. For many people, a failed business, investment loss, or bad decision becomes an emotional wound, something they carry as shame or a reason to quit. But the wealthy see failure as feedback. Every setback is a lesson, a blueprint of what not to do next time. This mindset allows them to move forward faster because they extract value even from loss. They don't get paralyzed by fear of risk. They get better at managing it with every round they play. Lastly, rich individuals train themselves to think in probabilities, not absolutes. The average mindset says, "What if this fails?" The wealthy ask, "What's the worst-case scenario and how can I survive it?" Or, "What's the likelihood this works and what's the potential reward if it does?" They know that high returns rarely come without high risk. But they also know that properly managed risk is the gateway to exponential success. This ability to calculate, tolerate, and leverage risk is what elevates them beyond the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle and places them firmly in control of their financial destiny. So now you see, it's not just about having money. It's about how you think about money. The rich don't stumble into wealth by accident. They think in systems, move with intention, and see opportunities where others see obstacles. They don't chase comfort. They seek control. They don't fear risk. They calculate it. And above all, they don't worship money. they wield it. This is the dark psychology of money, strategic, unshaken, and often misunderstood. But once you begin to understand it, once you rewire how you see money, control, influence, and risk, you step into a different realm entirely. You stop surviving and start designing your future. The truth is, yes, you don't have to be born rich to think like the rich, but you do have to think differently. And when your mind shifts, your bank account, your habits, and your entire life will follow. So the question is no longer, how do I get rich? The real question is, am I ready to think like the rich?